Hello and welcome to Bits and Atoms, the Grisham Robotics Founder Series. I'm your host, Elias Can, and today I've got Shane Parmar, co-founder and CEO of ONDA Plus, joining me. To get started, Shane, would you mind sharing a quick intro about you and ONDA Plus?
Hi, yeah, sure. Hi, Elias. Shane, founder of ONDA Plus. About me, I love solving problems. I love helping people. And ONDA Plus is an early intervention engine for stress. So something that's positioned quite differently from many things that exist at the moment. This is more the proactive side of things, not reactive and showing you information, more helping you in the moment. So hope that it's nice and simple.
Yeah, straight to it. And we'll definitely chat more on the product side and curious to hear more on that. Maybe taking a step back and just looking at you personally first, what kind of originally motivated you to take the leap to become a founder? What's kind of your origin story there?
Sure. So I always loved being a founder, to be fair. I guess this is my first rodeo in this arena, but I've had a couple of CBD businesses in the past. I've had another partnership with commodities with some friends and done some coaching and consulting as well myself. So I've had businesses, and I guess I always knew that the stage would be that I would effectively work for myself and come up with something. But I don't like to just put efforts and energy into stuff that I don't really believe in or have as like a really good solution. If it's not really something that I believe in, I can't do it. So I guess it was when On the Plus, when the concept found me or I found it, it was a strange moment. And yeah, I just once I found it and discovered it, and yeah, it had to become a reality. I just that just the moment on the 14th of April last year, that was it. I was all in into On the Plus, and yeah, the rest has been history. I guess that kind of, I mean, I've always been inspired by elders and adults around me that I've spoken to, I guess, as a child as well, learning about what they did and their journeys, and that's always inspired me. So,
Yeah, very cool. And you mentioned kind of this like moment where it found you, maybe this like aha moment. And for folks listening in, it's you're building in kind of this intersection of wearables and health tech. I guess for ONDA Plus, like how did you and ONDA kind of collide, and what's that backstory there?
sure. So, effectively, it was built as a product out of need. It's just as like many great ideas that exist. It's when this founder sees a problem, can't find a solution in the market that tackles it in the way that they best see fit, and they just think, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I was going through a pretty tough time, one of the toughest times of my life in April last year. I won't go into personal details, but a lot was happening, and yeah, I effectively wanted something that did what On the Plus does, but I couldn't find anything that did it. So I was a manager for a tech studio and thought, look, I can do this. My wife agreed with me. So yeah, that's the quick and easy of it.
Yeah. And I mean, I hear often, a lot of founders, maybe they start building because it's something that they could use, or someone that like a close friend or family could use, and that's kind of the starting point, but then realize a lot of people could use it as well. And so it's, a bigger opportunity than maybe they had even initially thought.
Precisely, yeah.
Tell me more about what you're building exactly, and what ONDA Plus is today. How you're kind of going about building the initial product.
Sure. So we're building an early intervention engine for stress. It can just be seen as a wearable, which people may look at it and think, oh, it's just another wearable. It's quite the opposite. So it is a wearable for the on-body detection, for the real-time detection of the body. So the different biomarkers that we show when we're stressed, we're all different. So we all show different things. So what we're doing is it's a whole ecosystem behind the wearable. That's where the brains of it all is. elements of IoT, health tech, med tech, effectively at a later stage, I guess. Like we're not going to enter it as a medical device because we want to get to market one day.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's basically what we're building. We're at a stage now where hardware would be great to have, and so we're actively looking at grants, funds, in conversation with a few different universities, 3 different universities in the UK right now. So yeah, and business conversation. That's what's happening. So over the last 2 weeks, I've started having conversations with wellness managers and behavioral therapists, HR, etc., and just generating business and, I guess, interest in piloting on the Plus potentially when it exists. And that's been the last couple of weeks. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. So yeah, we've been about 14 months or so since we've thought of the idea. And yeah, being with you guys was a great process as well. So helped to evolve the messaging and how we present on the Plus. So yeah, grateful for that.
Yeah, and always glad to hear that, and really appreciate that you joined for the accelerator. I want to circle back to something you said before, like the hardware piece, because I think there's definitely a big universe of folks who are building or have built in software before, and compared to that, hardware is a much different beast with the physical aspect, and a bit more challenging to fix things when something doesn't work. You can't always just push out an update. I guess for you, talking about the hardware side so far, like what's maybe been the biggest challenge there, or something that you didn't expect that is like a big hurdle now that you're trying to overcome?
Sure. Well, we were talking about one earlier just before the call, actually. So we had a point in time when one of the biggest companies in the world were battling me for a name that we had. We had to pivot. I pivoted within 2 days, rebranded to a name that I liked, carried on. But I think more significantly were like issues with terms of engineers that I'd worked with or challenges that appeared. And yeah, investing cash in stuff that may have been premature and in hindsight could have been better used. They're probably things that have lingered and could have definitely been of better use now that we know a much more clearer idea of where we're going and in terms of validation. So that's something that I would say made a big impact and is still affecting or having an impact at this moment. But you're never going to get everything right at all times. I do as much as physically possible. We've got a great team. We've got over 20 advisors from various disciplines. So to have this wealth of knowledge and experience around me, sure, they came a lot later after them in the earlier mistakes, but you live and learn, and it's an amazing journey to be on and to build something that has true merit to the whole world, right? There's so many people. So yeah, like you were saying, Elias, like I'm building it, I guess, for myself and for people I know. But then by doing that, well, there's millions and millions of other people, potentially billions of other people that could benefit from this. So yeah, then it just keeps you, the purpose, the mission keeps you on track, keeps me on track, at least for sure. So yeah, I'm grateful for the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a long journey indeed. And definitely, I mean, spending enough time around founders, I know it's never a straight up and to the right. It's a lot of loop-de-loos and ups and downs, and it looks like a mess, but reaching the destination is always a good goal to have.
Yeah, I feel like you need to have it there, right? You need the shadows, and you need the rain, and you need the curves in the track. I guess not only just to make it more exciting or make it interesting, but you don't. There's a good saying about, like, being successful doesn't bring you anything in terms of traits and skills and qualities. And I've been fortunate enough to have decent amounts of money in my account at a young age. 5, 6 figures in my 20s. And yeah, easy come, easy go, right? Like, I think when you're on the journey of becoming someone or becoming your purpose, your destiny, effectively, you you realize like it's all about what you learn on the way, and that's where you pick up all the great things through the challenges and the setbacks. That's where you build character, you build courage, you learn things, you strategize, and that's really the fun part of it. Just constantly solving problems. And like I say, I love it. I absolutely love it. I've never been happier in my life. It's an absolute blessing to do what I do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And that's great to hear. I think it's definitely a universe where to be a founder and be in that kind of sphere like requires like deep intrinsic motivation and enjoyment to be in it, because it's it's a lot of hard lessons and things like that. I think
Sure.
some people are less capable of getting up and soldiering on after a lot of the trials and tribulations of being a founder.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm lucky. I've done sales for 20 years. So if you do sales and you do it good, you know that you can't give up, and that I guess if you've done door knocking, like door knocking on the streets, canvassing, you know that okay, the next door could be a yes. So you always keep going. You remember. To be honest with you, Ellis, what I do as well a lot of is I've been fortunate or unfortunate to have done so many different jobs, and it reminds me of when I was sweeping floors or washing dishes or in security and standing up all day and or with lead vests on all day while you're in medical labs. It reminds me of the hardship of what I've been through, and it doesn't mean that they're lesser or better jobs, but it's that okay, this is what you've had to do before. Now, this is what you're doing. You're living your dream right now. Make sure that you do this effectively because you may not get another chance, but also uh, not everything's riding on it, but also I guess, like your purpose, your mission, your legacy, like what do you want to be remembered for at the end of it? Do you want to have significant impact on the world and make a difference? Or, it's nice to try, but startups don't fail, right? The founder decides to stop, and being resilient and motivated and determined. Sales really gave me a hell of that, a lot of that. So yeah, super grateful for the journey and for picking up all these little great skills on the way. And I guess like you were saying earlier, you don't really know where the journey is taking you or what's going on. But in hindsight, once you are at a certain stage, then you're like, oh, this is why I did this, this is why I did that. And it all sort of connects and makes sense. Um, Digressing a lot, I know this is how my brain works. It's madness.
No, it's good. And like you said, like you're adding kind of like skills to the tool belt as you're going. And maybe a fun little last question here, because you mentioned you've had a lot of different jobs so far, and I'm curious what like outside of the ignoring the founder piece for now, but from all the other stuff that you're doing earlier, like what would you say was your favorite and what would you say was your least favorite for some of those jobs you're doing?
I would say financial consulting was my favorite, because when you're managing people's funds and you're choosing where to allocate the money and strategizing their financial plans and stuff, that was so much fun. Like looking at the world as one connected piece had cause and effect, literally, because you'd have to learn everything, right? I don't know how much exposure you've had into this stuff, but you have to remember the football scores, the soccer scores, the basketball scores, the world events. This is every week, like the forex exchange rates for euro, dollar, yen. Like you have to remember all of this stuff every week, and they're testing you on it. So like you've got to know your stuff, and then when you look at the world, you're seeing like, oh, this happens, and this is affecting this and this and this. You really understand how the world's connected. So I love that. I guess in the finance aspect, finance role, should I say? Um, didn't like. Oh man, do I think of a? I mean, let's put it honest, right? If you're in a resale shop and you're selling clothes, there's nothing more painful than just standing around, you know, oh, how can I help you? Can I help you? That can be really tiring and painful, right? So I take my heart off to people that have to do, you know, retail work because it's not easy. But I guess I'm gonna flip this now because this is kind of how I am. I'm really quite a positive person and quite an optimist. So I try and flip anything that I don't like or anything that becomes tedious into a game, and I flip it and think I can't remember who it was that said it, but how can I make this enjoyable? How can I make this task enjoyable? So I tend to flip things into a competition or a challenge or into a game, and yeah, before you know it, you become ridiculously productive and that's just what I like to do, because if you gamify it, then it doesn't become a task and sure, it becomes motivation. And I guess that's kind of again how ONDA Plus works.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And it's funny you mentioned that because I, like, back in high school and college age, where you're doing mostly stuff just to make a little money. It's not stuff you're passionate about, but it's to get some money in the bank account to do fun things. Yeah, oftentimes, like, I would try and find little ways to gamify or like excite myself about some of the things that I was doing, like lifeguarding, for example. And the places where I was lifeguarding were like empty community pools, and so there's nobody there. It's just me. Like, you got to figure out a way to make it fun, otherwise, yeah, it's grueling to just be doing nothing for a day.
Must be a tough job being sat there without being able to have music or nothing on. And yeah, I mean, meditation is a blessing if you could do it at that point, right?
Yeah, probably still a little too young for that. Yeah. And it was just like right at the time, like, iPhones were starting to become more popular later in high school for me. So I was probably still using like a flip phone, or at least one of the flipped keyboard ones that were like the Envies and stuff like that were popular back in like the early 2010s.
I was BlackBerry all over, man. At that stage, BlackBerry was the one. And then yeah, when I moved to Switzerland, so I had a French phone and a British phone. So my BlackBerry was my main phone, and then I had an iPhone for my Swiss. And yeah, unfortunately, the iPhone took over, and that's been what I've used throughout since. But I'd kill for another BlackBerry if there was a good BlackBerry out. Yeah, I'd have that.
You go for it. Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, Shane, I want to thank you for the time today. It was great to have you on for Bits and Atoms. I'll let you get back to building, and have a great rest of the week.
Oh, great. Thank you for having me. And yeah, enjoyed it. Appreciate it. Have a good one.